Finally, the announcement of hardcore servers has been made, and now we can all sail off into the sunset and live happily ever after. Well, not exactly. If there's one thing WoW players like to do more than playing WoW, it's talk trash to everyone who doesn't play WoW the way they like to play it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into today's deep dive on Hardcore WoW's most controversial topics. Number 1. Solo Self-Found. Solo Self-Found is a feature that marks a character to be unable to interact with other characters, which disables features like trading or partying. Currently, Hardcore WoW implements a watered-down version of Solo Self-Found where you can group and do one run of each dungeon until you hit level 60. At level 60, trading becomes enabled, but only to those who are using the Hardcore add-on. Auction House and Mailbox are still banned. This version of Solo Self-Found was primarily implemented into the game because there are many players on the server who are not playing Hardcore. Because the add-on is not able to track which items on the auction house are from hardcore characters, the auction house was removed from the game. But now we have official servers coming out, and everyone on the server will be hardcore, so some of these rules may not be needed anymore. First, let's look at the benefits of Solo Self-Found. Number 1, no boosting or gold selling. If trading is disabled until level 60, there's no way for bots to give you gold, so there's no reason for them to be there. Solo Self-Found almost completely removes bots from the game. Since there's no grouping, there's no boosting. A common boosting method involves a mage and a lower level player that go into a dungeon and the mage AoEs down the entire dungeon in one pull. No grouping essentially means no boosting. Number 2, increased loot impact. In Solo Self-Found, you can only wear items that you loot yourself or you craft. This adds increased levels of serotonin when you loot rare items or bags at low level. It can also greatly increase your chances of getting to 60 the more that loot RNG is on your side. Better gear means you have a better chance to live. Now, let's look at some of the negatives of Solo Self-Found. No grouping. The low-level zones are absolutely packed with people waiting in line for quest mobs. There's very little chance of dying with these mobs, so soloing it doesn't really give you a sense of accomplishment. After a while, you wish you could just group up so at least 5 of you guys can get the quest done instead of 1 at a time. And later on, there's many elite quests that are nearly impossible to do on Solo Self-Found, and it leaves many zones uncompleted, and it puts you behind in experience. This means you'll be in that Naga cave grinding mobs even longer. No trading. When you finally do loot that Staff of Jordan, you'll be overwhelmed with joy until you quickly realize that you're a Paladin and you can't use staffs. But that's no problem. You could just sell it on the auction house and make some gold, right? Oh, wait. We're playing Solo Self-Found. Trading, mailbox, and auction house is disabled. So that means you have to vendor one of the most rare items in the game for 2 gold and 17 silver. SSF hype. But what if there was a world where trading could exist without the gold selling? One suggestion I heard is you can only trade with players within 5 levels of you. That's a decent idea, but then people would just trade items 5 levels down at a time until they got the item all the way down on their level 1 twink and started destroying everything like an Asmos video. But what if you could only trade with people that were the same level as you? If I loot a Staff of Jordan at level 43, then you have the option to sell the item at 43 or to hold on to it until 60 if it becomes worth more value. Either way, this was just one solution to allow trading and prevent gold selling. Or you could just keep it the way we have it now and only allow trading at 60. So how can we allow grouping and prevent boosting? Well, there's several good methods for this. One is dungeon lockout timers. Putting a 3-day or 1-week lockout on all dungeons would eliminate boosting sales altogether. It would force people to be out in the world instead of dungeon spamming, and it would make the world feel more like an MMO. Another suggestion is you raise the amount of experience gained from dungeon quests and decrease the amount of experience gained from dungeon mobs. This would make dungeon grinding a waste of time, but still allow you to spam the dungeon in hopes that you get that much needed item from a boss. Number 2, griefing and disconnect death appeals. Griefing is a hot topic for many people, especially streamers. You cannot control someone who wants to drag mobs on top of you and scattershot Fing death. Hiring a team to appeal grief deaths is a far too expensive process, and I'm sure that Blizzard will not be implementing this into the game. The only way to fix this would be to change the way that mobs leash or interact with players entirely. Since this is something that's fairly hard to code, I don't see it getting changed. So unfortunately, I think griefing is always going to be around, but it should be drastically lower with the recent ban waves that Blizzard has started implementing and the fact that everyone has to abide by the 1 life rule. DC deaths because your internet crashing are another sad but unfortunate thing that can and will happen. This is out of Blizzard's hands, so there's not really much to say besides we go again. But what about a DDoS attack? If everyone on the server dies because the server crashed, surely there'll be a rollback, right? Let's hope so. Number 3, Petri Flask and Dungeon Hearth. A Flask of Petrification is an item that allows you to stop taking damage for 1 minute. The current meta in hardcore endgame is to leave group and pop a Flask of Petrification so that you become immune to damage and then you get ported out of the dungeon after 60 seconds. Flask of Petrification is only a 3-second cooldown, which means you can pop as many of these as you want back to back and never die. Many people want this item removed from the game because it's essentially a ghetto bubble hearth. There's 2 ways that Blizzard could handle this. Remove Petri Flask from the game, or remove the hearth mechanic when you drop group.
It's like, oh, we overpulled. Oh, 1 person died in the 5-man Stratholme. Oh, everybody run around the corner. Click Petri Flask. Leave group. Oh, I clicked it too early, but I have 2 Petri Flasks, so let me click it off and click it again, and I'm not dead. But if they take out the 1 minute instance teleport, then it's a great item. I love Petri Flask.
Number 4, Bubble Hearth. Paladin Divine Shield is another hot topic that most people agree should be removed from the game. This ability offers 100% chance to avoid death when used properly and takes all the element of risk out of the game. The reason we all play Hardcore Classic is because we enjoy the risk aspect of the game. Therefore, anything that gives 100% chance to live should be nerfed. Number 5, World buffs. While I thoroughly enjoy running down to Stranglethorn Vale to get my ZG buff, then Mage Portaling to Stormwind to get a Nyxia buff, then spending 10 gold to boon those buffs, then spend 30 minutes running over to Faralos so I can run through Dire Maul North to get the tribute buffs, then spend another 10 gold to unboon and boon those buffs so I have a full 2-hour duration on all of my world buffs, not to mention Songflower and Ren buffs. I could honestly do without this process. In hardcore, people are going to take advantage of everything that they can when it comes to in-game raiding. So if it's in the game, it's going to be required for everyone to do it. For that reason, I would prefer to see them removed from the game. Although, it is really cool to see all the level 5s in Stormwind get super excited when we come to drop in a Nyxia head, so I guess I'm torn in regards to that, because I do love events that bring the community together, and world buffs is one of those things. So I'm curious, what do you think about world buffs? Should they be taken out, or should they be left in the game? What should Blizzard do to reduce boosting and gold selling? Should Petri Flask be removed from the game, or just the Ghetto Hearth mechanic? Should trading be allowed anytime, or only at level 60? Should Blizzard just leave everything the way it is and make one life the only rule? I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Either way, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.